What's going on, America? This is Kevin in Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. Now, I'm going to try to bring some logic to Americans, okay? For all of the people who, for whatever reason, have bought into this phony Russia narrative that they've been pushing for over a year or something, I want to just challenge you to think about some things from a logical perspective. I know that's hard for snowflakes because they don't need that. No, they don't need that. What they like is emotional stuff, anger. They like whatever talking point that the liberal media throws out, whatever agenda they're pushing. That's what they like. They're like, yep, I bet you that's what he did. I'm sure. I trust Don Lemonhead. You know what? I trust Chris Como. I trust CNN. I trust MSNBC, even though all of their coverage of the president is negative. I don't think they have a hidden agenda at all. No, not them. I trust the Democrats who, for whatever reason, find it more important to find evidence to prove that the president is guilty versus simply wanting to get to some facts and information. And once that well dries up, they should move on and stop wasting tax dollars money. But they're not. No, but I still trust them. So for all of those people out there, I want you to just use some logic for a second. If Donald Trump was to collude with the Russians, how would that look? Now look at the Mueller investigation. They are bringing in people like Carter Page. They're bringing in people like George Papadopoulos. And then they had this other crazy guy on all of the liberal stations the other day, ranting and talking about how he ain't gonna get drug in and get subpoenaed. He ain't testifying. I ain't doing nothing. But by the way, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a drug addict. But yet, nonetheless, all of these people that they're trying to make a connection to Donald Trump and this Russia collusion story. Do you think if there was a conspiracy this large for them to put together a conspiracy to win the presidency with Russia, do you think they would be so reckless as to include Carter Page, to include George Papadopoulos, and include this other random guy whose name I don't even remember in the conspiracy? Do you think that they would be anywhere near? Do you think Vladimir Putin is that dumb? The espionage that Russia has goes deep. So we know that they're not going to be so reckless. They say, Donald Trump, let's get together and talk about how we could rig the election and collude with you to get you in office. And let's include so many people, so many random people who really you've never met because they were low-level people on your totem pole when it comes to your campaign. Maybe some of them were there for a couple weeks and was gone, but we're going to include them anyway. You're going to bring them all in. Hey, Carter, come here for a minute. We want to let you in on this whole plot to get me elected by colluding with the Russians. Hey, George Papadopoulos, whose name makes me laugh every time I hear it. Come over here. Let's talk about this, okay? We want you to know our plan, our diabolical scheme, even though you got loose lips and we don't know you very well and you think you might even be in other countries just talking randomly about our plan, huh? But we're going to include you. You think Russia is that dumb? Do you think Donald Trump would put together a diabolical scheme like this and include a ragtag team of members and people that Mueller and all of the Democrats and all of the liberal media have been dragging in and investigating and talking to and saying, now let's connect this guy to that? Right here, you got Carter Page. You have George Papadopoulos. Yeah, you got them. We got all this random new alcoholic guy. We got all of these people who really are no-namers, have no power, no pull, but we're going to somehow feel like they were all in on the biggest plot, biggest collusion, biggest heist ever. For them to do something like that, it would probably be Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin and maybe one or two other people. So why are they trying to connect George Papadopoulos to all of this? Huh? Why are they trying to connect all these random people? Do you think that's even logical or practical to think that those people would be involved and nothing, no evidence up until this point would even be leaked or found hooking up Donald Trump to collusion with the Russians? Now, to keep something that big a secret, to keep something that magnanimous from leaking out to the public after a year of everybody gunning, looking. They had CNN going and digging through trash cans, looking for evidence, going to Taiwan or Bangkok or wherever, interviewing prostitutes, still trying to find information on Donald Trump. And yet none concerning collusion. Now, do you think that's possible? Versus a huge organization like the FBI, the DOJ, the DNC, who have the power, money, and resources to keep all their information close and tight. And yet we were able to find out that these guys created the fake phony dossier, tried to hide that fact. It came out that it came from Hillary. Then put it in the hands of the FBI, who was biased. Then they took it to the FISA courts 4 times, got it approved, without telling any of the judges that this whole document was comprised by Donald Trump's campaign rival. They didn't tell them that. They were able to leak out and find all this information that should have been protected by the FBI, the DOJ, the DNC. You would think if anybody can cover up information, it would be them. And yet we got all this overwhelming information about how they really colluded with the Russians. Adam Schiff, willing to take a meeting and get some dirt from some Russian oligarchs or whoever they did a prank with him and called him. And he was like, how can I get the information? Yeah, I'm gonna have my people call your people. I want that. What's any different than what John Jr. did? There's no difference. But yet we were able to get all of this information about how crooked the FBI was concerning this, the DOJ and the DNC. So if we were able to find out that information about these secret organizations, but yet nobody can find out information or prove anything that Donald Trump and his people colluded with the Russians, after a year of scrutiny and investigation, not only by Mueller, but by the liberal media and by the dirty Dems, nothing. And you want me to believe that this is not a witch hunt? You want me to believe that this is not a waste of taxpayers' dollars? You want me to believe that any information at this point that comes out most likely have been drummed up, okay? Just drummed up. You see my drum roll? Okay? Drummed up by whatever powers that be, because it would have leaked about 15 months ago if there was some validity to this fake phony Russia collusion story. So anyway, that's my take on it. Now, hopefully you're a practical thinking person and will be able to really say, you know what, you got a point. That does not make any sense whatsoever, okay? But don't be the person to say, even though that doesn't make sense, I'm going to somehow believe this stupid story and trust that there's a bigger agenda and more people behind this whole thing, this plot that was put together, than what the eye sees. You've been listening to Kevin at Kevin's Corner. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but if I could come up with that, surely anybody can see that, man, that doesn't make any sense. And then the fact that Vladimir Putin, if he's supposed to be buddy-buddy with Trump, why is he making nuclear weapons that he claimed will blow up the United States and we couldn't defend ourselves against it? That doesn't sound like a very nice relationship to me. I'm just saying. Anyway, God bless you. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter. Check me out on Wednesday nights, my blog talk radio show, 7:30. You can call in. There'll be links in the bottom. And if you want to support Kevin's Corner, please do. There are links in the bottom. And we will talk to you soon again in Kevin's Corner. God bless.